Ooh la la. Hi guys, so please forgive me because I'm recording with my webcam. Oh no, I hope they're not gonna. So basically, I've been really wanting to make a video in English for, a little while now, but the thing is I have some really loud construction work going on just above my floor, and it's really loud, and it's actually preventing me from filming. Also, I kind of wanted to react in French before reacting in English to the first round of the presidential election that happened about, I think, 3 days ago. And I didn't really know whether you guys would be interested or not, and it seems that a lot of you are interested, but I'm not sure you're completely familiar with all the people, all the candidates, all the parties and everything, and how France really works politics wise. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments below. So basically what happened is that, I'm gonna tell you first who I voted for, and what I voted for, I think is more accurate. So I voted for Jean-Luc Mélenchon, who's not really part of a party, but what he calls a movement, a group, which is called La France Insoumise, which is kind of like the, how do you say insoumise? The untamed France, I suppose, is how you could call it. I voted for him already in 2012, and I've been following him ever since. Even in 2011, I really agree with most of the things he says and defends and stands for. I'm not sure how he's depicted outside of France. He's considered by some the real left, because the Socialist Party or socialism in France really, the Socialist Party in France really sort of migrated towards the center, or at least, the right, but we could say the center. And so he's considered by some as the real left, now that the Socialist Party has sort of, left the left. And some other people consider him extreme in the left wing, which is not really what my opinion is. But even with that, you know how I feel about extremes and radicalism and radical ideas. I don't necessarily think they're negative. I think it's a word that we use without really understanding it most of the time. But anyway, and I voted for him, and I voted for his movement, which really focused on ecology, on social justice, on peace, and trying to work on real issues that cause the migrant crisis, and be them political or climate related. It was really heavily focused as well on equality between people and gender equality. It obviously was very on the left, so when it comes to economy and when it comes to taxes and incomes, there were, this idea that some should not earn that much when some earn nothing at all, among other things. And one of the big things of his, of the movement, was that we wanted to end the Fifth Republic, which is what we are under currently, and start the Sixth Republic, and change the constitution and change the institutions, not in a sort of revolutionary way where someone decides suddenly on his own to do all those things, but more like, to make it happen over time, asking the people, the French people, what they want and what they really want for the future. So that was, on my opinion, the most interesting, honestly, campaign. And I really voted for him with all of my heart, and most of the people I know who are young, educated, and I guess fall under the category of intellectuals, voted for him. And he got a really good score and a good result. He got about 20%, so that's pretty amazing when you think of it. When you think that in the whole world currently, sort of, with a few exceptions, the right wing and populism and fascism are like increasing so much, when you see that you can get such a result with someone who is considered extreme left, It's pretty impressive and pretty amazing, especially because he did only 11% and for the last election, so that's pretty good. And yeah, it was the first party in the youth, so the youth voted massively for him, which is and for his ideas. So that's pretty I mean, it's kind of inspiring and comforting in a way. But unfortunately, the two candidates that kind of won or got the most votes out of this first round are Marine Le Pen and Emmanuel Macron. And I'm not sure how Emmanuel Macron is described and perceived outside of France, but he is not fresh, and is not new, and is not an alternative to the right and the left, and is not a new way to make politics, is none of these things. So obviously Marine Le Pen is an eyesore, is just a despicable human being whose party is based on fascism, xenophobia, Islamophobia, homophobia, negationism when it comes to what happened to the Jews and other people during the Second World War. It's against women's rights, be it abortion or just the right to have access easily to contraception, or the right for lesbians to marry or to, you know, take care of their children or whatever. It is economically speaking a disaster. She is against the European Union, and not that I am saying that the European Union as it is now is good, but it could be a wonderful thing, and rather than destroying it, I think it's time that we work towards reforming it and making it into what citizens want it to be, because it's beautiful and it stands for something important that apparently people have forgotten since they vote so much for Marine Le Pen without realizing, you know, what they're doing. The European Union happened after the war, and it is very important that we keep war away from Europe. It's actually very important that we just try to make wars not happen. But yeah, so she's just what she is, and I will never vote for her, and I don't. But you know, people vote for her for many reasons. Some vote for her and her party because they're racist, and that's their main reasons. A lot of them vote for her because they're tired of liberalism and capitalism, and they want a change, and they think that this change will happen with her, which is completely false. So you know, the result, I mean, one of the main reasons why people vote for such a negative, dangerous and toxic party is because of people like Macron, who is a capitalist, a liberal, who tries so hard to make it seem like it's not from the right, but it's actually so much on the right. He has nothing social, there's no social justice in his program at all. We're cut, and I hope we won't be cut again. So basically Macron offered nothing new, and you know, the fact that he's young, the fact that he has not done politics before does not make him any interesting or any different or any sort of a change. Actually, all of the people that support him are old white people who've done politics before, all people who earn a lot of money and also earn the media in France. So it's actually very, very alarming and depressing to see that most people, that all the people that earn the media in France are like big companies, and those big companies are in some way or another affiliated with him. And when you look at the coverage of the media for each candidate, there was such a disproportion in the way, in the quantity and the quality of representation and visibility given to the candidates. And Macron, whose program is completely empty, whose speech are completely shitty, who has no experience whatsoever, was covered and was, you know, given so much visibility, so much more compared to other candidates. And even just, I think, 3 days before the election, in one of the biggest newspapers, there was actually an article that was more like, you know, like a call to vote for him, based on the fact that some 40 economists or something just claimed that his program was the most I mean, like the best economics wise. So you really wonder about democracy when you hear about these things and when you see the proof. The fact that it was only, I mean, it was part of the government under Hollande, and just appeared out of nowhere. Firstly, that's a bit weird, that's a bit strange. He did nothing great when he was in the government, but apparently he's so different. People are so fed up and so tired of Hollande's policy, pan politics, but they want to take someone as a president who's the closest to Hollande, to him, and they want to have as a president someone that worked for him. Anyway, and so when he decided to quit the government, we heard about it for, I don't know, at least a week on every media. And it never happened before with any of the people involved in the government that left the government. So this was a process that really happened and really started long before the election. And it is really disastrous for democracy. It is really disastrous when you think of people just being so easily manipulated by the media and voting for someone who has nothing to offer but is young, white, wealthy, quite charming, and supported by people with a lot of money who earn the media. If that's not scary, I don't know what is scary. And so you have him, first place, and then you have Marine Le Pen, super scary, and then you have Fillon. So Marine Le Pen and Fillon were actually under investigation because they did illegal stuff regarding money and stealing money or whatever. But they still had the right to, you know, run for the presidential election, which I think is super absurd and unacceptable. Marine Le Pen did not even go to the police when she was, you know, told to go because she had to. There is this thing called the, how do you call that in English? Immunity, I suppose. I don't know. Basically, because of, you know, her place in society and the role that she takes in plays in politics, she has the right not go to the police. Equality, you all. So basically, you have Macron, who should have never been there. It would have never been there if he had not been supported by people who earn the media and who earn so much money, and that's just disastrous. And then you have two people that should not even have had the right to present themselves and to run for this presidential election because, you know, they're involved with the police. If you're involved with the police in any sort of way, you should not have the right to run for elections. No, I mean, you can lose your job so easily if you're just a normal citizen because you've stolen something or whatever, but you can still become a president. If you steal money from the European Union. Wow. And then you have Mélenchon. So basically, honestly, and it's not even because I voted for him, if any other candidate would have been at this fourth place, I would have said the same. The only worthy candidate, you know, who had more than 10% was Mélenchon. And the only one that really, I mean, he should be the first one in all, you know, if things were really democratic and if things were fair and equal. And it is just so frustrating, and it's super frustrating to see that people are now blaming those who don't want to vote, because now we are faced with a really big issue. You can't vote for Le Pen because she is a fascist, she is a racist, she's a xenophobic person, she's an Islamophobic person, she's a homophobic person. She really will destroy society, and she's anti-Europe and all those things. But can you vote for someone who has lured you, who has lied to you, who is just a puppet for the markets and those big companies and those big lobbies and those so wealthy people? We are actually seeing someone disastrous, which is that it's the poor against the rich. And it's not even the poor against the rich, it's the rich trying to kill the poor. And the poor, because they're not educated, because they're ignorant, because they don't care, because they're afraid of extremes such as Mélenchon, are voting for those rich that wants to destroy them and kill them and make their life miserable. and it's so infuriating, and it's infuriating me, and it's just honestly, I cried on the night of the result. But after that, and the day after that, I felt super shitty. I still feel very shitty. I still feel super bad about what's happening. But I'm not watching the news. I'm not listening to anything. I am actually kind of listening to things and reading things online, but coming from very specific sources. And the more I learn and the more I read, the scarier it becomes. And yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do for the second round. I know that I can't vote for Le Pen, but I am not sure I'm actually gonna vote at all. And it's a big surprise for me because I think that voting should be compulsory. I don't think anyone should not vote. But the thing is, if you vote for no one, it's actually not counted and not taken in consideration, so it's not really worth anything right now. And I don't know if I can vote for Macron. I don't know if I can vote for Macron to prevent a really big storm from happening, and I'm not sure that voting for him would actually make it any better, because his politics is so anti-social justice politics, his liberal and capitalist politics are one of the main reasons why people are voting for Le Pen. So if I vote for him and he's actually the one elected, which I think is going to happen, and he runs for 5 years, chances are very high that people are going to be so disgusted they're going to want to vote for Le Pen even more. You can also be more positive and think that people are going to vote for the left, which is a very high possibility as well, especially given the fact that the younger generations are going to vote. And it's very unlikely that they're going to vote for Le Pen, and it's very likely, on the other hand, that they're going to vote for the left. So it is a very tricky situation, and I don't know what I'm going to do. So yeah, and it's actually been really sad and really heavy, and I feel just really disgusted and really just so saddened by everything that's happened. But even more than that, I feel really, really, really angry at people because, and you can jump on me and say whatever you want to say to me, people are ignorant and they don't want to change that. If you're ignorant because you were not given the chance to educate yourself, because you know nobody around you that's informed and want to talk about it with you, because you don't have access to information. But let's be honest, most people have been to at least school until they were 18 years old, and they've learned about history, they've learned about a little bit of politics, they've learned about, you know, analyzing a speech and, you know, just being critical. They have access to the internet and they know what's happening in the world. So most of them have no excuse for making such poor choices. And so many people vote without even reading or taking into account what people or politicians or whatever parties want to, you know, want to want to achieve, you know, what their projects are. So if you vote and you have no idea what you're voting for, you should not even be allowed to vote, in my opinion. And we're in this shitty situation because of ignorant people who are fine with being ignorant and still giving their shitty opinion. And I'm sorry to say, and people are perhaps going to say that I'm super pretentious and whatever, but I really don't care at this point. It's all because of ignorant people that vote for Le Pen, that vote for Macron, that vote for Fillon, that don't give a shit about justice, that don't give a shit about history, about others, about their lives, and about the reality of life, the reality of the environmental situation. And it's just very frustrating for me. I can't really deal with the fact that my life is dictated in a way by those ignorant people. So yeah, that's my reaction. I know that a lot of you wanted me to talk about it in English, so that's it. I know it's very long, I'm sorry, but you understand that I had quite a few things to say. I'm sorry for my lack of eloquency and vocabulary, but it's a bit of a difficult subject to talk about in English, and I haven't prepared anything at all. And now I'm gonna go back to studying because life still goes on. And yeah, thank you for watching this video, guys, and I'll see you later. Bye.